Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to Breakfast with Sergio. We're doing this special edition episodes from artists around the world. What if you got stuck on the other side of the world during the pandemic? That's exactly the story that we're sharing today with my good friend, Julia Ho. Well, Julia, super happy to have you here in the show today. You are an artist who has been here with us before, sharing breakfast with Sergio. I think that was maybe 2 years ago or something like that. So it's happy to have you back here. And you have your blog of your own, which is a beautiful, amazing YouTube show, which I've been following for the last, I don't know, since you started it, but in more recent times, specifically because of the journey that you had going to Cambodia, and then the pandemic hit, and then all kinds of events that triggered one thing to another that led you back now to return to the United States, and that whole journey and sharing pretty much with an open mind, an open heart, what you were going through. For me, it was a way to connect with you and to connect with what was happening to other artists, as you also introduce us to other people through your blog. And I feel like, we were with you, along this journey, and praying for you, thinking about you, and wishing you well. So happy that you are here right now, and you are in a good place. And so let's talk a little bit about that. But before that, I want to say good to see you, Julia. How are you? How you been?
Great to see you, man. I'm just out here living life, and I've never been better.
Absolutely, right? And that is the most amazing thing. So where are you at right now? Because I know you've been around the world for the last few weeks, but for our friends who are watching that do not know your story, where are you at right now?
So right now I am based in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I have placed myself into self-quarantine for 2 weeks before visiting with my sister and her family. They live here. They have a house in Kalamazoo, and actually this is my college town. So I spent 8 years. Yeah, I spent like nearly a decade here, about 8 years. So I'm very familiar with the town. I'm very close to downtown, so organic produce and
awesome. That's the best. That's awesome. And you also lived for many years here in Chicago. That's where we got to know each other. We got to connect. Then you moved to New York, right? How long you been in New York also? Because you're New York based as well.
Yeah, I was and am. It's confusing, but I think it's confusing for most people. But I have been based out of Brooklyn, New York for 3 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I was in Chicago for 9 years and been in New York for 3. So
awesome. And so along the way, then you had traveled before to Cambodia, where you did some amazing things, which you also documented through your video blog. And the idea was to come back to Cambodia. And if you can tell us a little bit, you're kind of in a short, few minutes, kind of like that journey of what was the purpose of going to Cambodia?
The purpose of going to Cambodia was definitely a heartfelt mission. I started meditating about 1 year ago, and every morning in my meditations, Cambodia would speak to me. I had a solo exhibition there in 2018 that traveled from Siem Reap to Phnom Penh, and it was very successful. But that was even before that I was volunteering in Cambodia. So something about that culture and radically shifted my perception with regard to life, with regard to success, or what that means in the landscape of being a contemporary artist. So I just felt like I had to get back to Cambodia. I thought that New York was it for me. I thought that, like, I spent my whole life trying to get to New York, you know? Like, I just felt like, oh, once I achieve that dream, then that's it. And, this is where artists go. This is where artists should be. And then I just found myself dreaming and desiring to live in Cambodia. And I'm like, I'm young, my partner's young, we're healthy, let's go. So so we made the journey. We spent all last year saving money. So we both of us saved a big nest egg. I sold a bunch of paintings. And definitely meditating on abundance, that helped a lot with regard to sales. And so we had this nest egg, and we moved there January 7th. So we found an amazing apartment. It was just like a dream come true. And I think that this pandemic is very interesting in a lot of ways, because it's not like anyone predicted it, or maybe some people did, like Bill Gates, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
so we were all in the process of living our life, making dreams, and I think a lot of people's dreams were radically cut short or just interrupted. So for me, I'm locked out of Cambodia. So my partner's in Cambodia, and now I'm here in the States. Yeah, so the dream to get to Cambodia is not over yet, but basically 90% of the tourism, or 85-90%, is from the Chinese. And the tourism is so low that if you go to the temples of Angkor Wat right now, it's completely empty. It's completely deserted. It's incredible. So the culture, the society, like the businesses, the economy is really messed up, and it's really starting to get scary. I think there's some violence that's coming out, some, you know, thievery, and like, it's like, what do you do when a poor culture is already devastated? So I don't know what it's going to look like moving forward, getting back to Cambodia. I mean, we have our apartment there. My partner's there looking after the place. Our lease ends in like July or something. So what does that mean to go back to a culture that's been devastated or flatlined because of the tourism industry? And I don't know. So I could be here for another 6 months. My heart still yearns for Cambodia. So yes, I'll undoubtedly return.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done. So
that's right. That's right. And now the journey back here to the United States was a very difficult one for you, as you left Cambodia. And can you tell us a little bit about you know, what happened, you know, when the pandemic hit, and then, you know, people were leaving back home and so on, and then you being stuck also for a few days?
Absolutely. So I had planned, another part of my vision for this year was to deepen my well of consciousness and what I understand to perceive my reality to be. Part of that was going to India, into the mountains of Dharamshala, the foothills of the Himalayas. Freaking stunning. So I went to this yoga school called Chinmay Yoga School. After hours and hours and hours of research, something called me again to Dharamshala. So I left March 2nd, actually March 1st. And I didn't foresee any of what was going to come, man. I mean, yes, the virus was starting to become more so in the landscape of the United States and more so in the landscape of Cambodia. But what happened was people in the yoga program started freaking out, leaving early, because there were rumors that the Indian government was going to completely shut down all incoming and outgoing flights. So I got caught up in that fear. It was more so my body propelling me forward rather than my mind. So, and I think this is where some kind of like weird consciousness took over. I got on the last flight leaving Dharamshala. We left the yoga program. I left with 2 Americans a week early. And then we ended up getting stuck in Delhi the day before because we couldn't pass through Dubai to get to the United States. Americans were banned from Dubai. So I knew that my journey in India wasn't over yet. But anyway, we ended up getting stuck there for about 9 days. We ended up in a hotel. This owner took us in. He's like, this is the time for humanity. So I feel like we were in a state of preparation. We were doing yoga every morning at 7:30, meditation, another meditation at 5:30. We tried to keep our lives as regimented and structured as possible to stave off the unknowing, just not knowing when we were going to be evacuated. The U.S. basically put India, or U.S. citizens stuck in India, on a high priority evacuation list because of the increasing dangerous situation that's happening in India. Basically, the infrastructure is not set up with regard to the hospital systems, and I just don't know what's going to happen. I feel like it could be bad. There's a lot of people that have lost their jobs, like in the inner cities, and are now migrating to their homes in the countryside, and they're actually dying from starvation and exhaustion simply from the side effects of the virus, and just like the ignorance around it, or the lack of education, the lack of resources, or knowing about the resources. And so people in the streets were beginning to get beaten by sticks. Cops were forcing them to perform calisthenics in the street if they were out when they shouldn't have been, or even if they were getting groceries. There was one state leader that wanted to shoot on sight people that were leaving. I mean, it started like escalating. So what happened was the Mormons were evacuating their missionaries, their young boys that were missionaries in India. They had probably 2/3 of an empty plane. So I got on the first evacuation flight out of Delhi, flown out by the Jesus
Yeah.
Christ Latter-day Saints. I was just unbelievable.
Right.
So they flew me into Salt Lake City, and then I was like, where can I go? I'm not going to the epicenter. So I ended up in Kalamazoo. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that story. And in a minute, we're gonna share your podcast and your video blog so that our friends, can follow your journey and so on and learn more about it. But something that I really was really touched by as you were doing your daily video blogs when you got to Delhi and you met the taxi driver. And then the taxi driver even took you to his home, to his mom's. And then you said, there's a sentence that you said that really moved me, really touched me, when you said that you were right now pretty much at the mercy of the kindness of people, as you were in a strange place where you didn't know anybody, where all the thing that was happening going around. Now getting into that taxi and that the guy took you to a hotel he recommended, like you have no idea, I don't know if it's legit, is this good enough, but that the kindness of people that we can find around the world. Tell me a little bit about that, as you have experienced these, and connected with other human beings who are also afraid, what's happening in their, to their lives and their homes. But that kindness that, we can still find in the midst of fear and so on, but the kindness of people.
I think that's an excellent question, and thank you so much for picking up on that. Being at the mercy of the kindness of people. And I feel like a big word that's been coming up for me through this whole pandemic is the word relenting or relinquishing. So I think a lot of people feel powerless, and I think that the way we can give ourselves that power back or feel that sense of control or whatever we need is to relinquish, is to understand that this is out of our control. And I really do believe in the faith of mankind. Like, I really believe in people. And I think that when we give other people our trust and exhibit the fact that, hey, I'm in this situation where I feel vulnerable and I feel scared.
Right.
Other people really, I feel like at the fundamental root, we really want to help people. We are good. We are inherently good. This taxi driver took me under his wing. His mother made me food. I met this other taxi driver, and then we met the hotel owner, and it was just like, I don't know, I just felt by the grace of something, like some higher energy, whether that's through prayer or consciousness or like this shift. I don't know. I mean, on the flip side of that, there's a lot of dirtiness, there's a lot of ugliness. But it's not that I choose not to see that. It's that I operate on, I don't know, just a different frequency where, like, I just believe in people, No,
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that, Julia. Now, tell me how having your daily video blog has also kind of helped you kind of process things, or or in which way that content that you're producing has also affected you in some way. I'll tell you, like in my case, as a reference, like for me, doing these daily videos with artists from around the world, has helped me to understand my own, my own sense of what's happening in the world, right? Through stories, through people, through, like you said, the kindness of others who share their story here through video. That inspires me, helps me, and motivates me to wake up tomorrow and say, okay, I'm going to do another video today, right? And another. So how has, for you, because you've been very, very good at documenting the stories and the process, how has that affected you also to deal or inspire you to deal with, what you went through and that we are still all going through? Because you didn't stop making the videos, you said, you were more frequent and giving us quick updates on what was happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of what I was going back to before, keeping a routine and structure is absolutely imperative for, me personally, for mental health. And from what I see in others, like having that routine, having a structure is so imperative for mental health, because it gives you something to look forward to, and it allows a deeper connection with other people. And I found that through my situation and through the documentation, other people were really connecting with me. And it was, I do see our art making as a support.
Yes.
And I've been thinking a lot about support in life. Like, people can be supports. alcohol to be a support. So there are healthy supports and there are unhealthy supports.
Right.
And I've been thinking about what it would mean to strip away all the supports. Well, I was actually tested. I was stripped away from some of my supports in India. So for one, I didn't have any oil paints. I did have pencils. So within that boundary, there's unlimited creativity. I didn't have video making for a while because there was one day where my computer fell off my bed and then my memory card reader exploded into 1,000 pieces. So I was just sitting there one day looking at the wall and being like, I hear you, universe. I understand that you're trying to allow me to let go of literally everything. So I think that really was astounding. It was a great lesson. It was a great lesson in the removal of these supports and what it would mean to just be left with your mind and your body. But with that being said, I also realized, I love oil painting and I love video making. So I was like, it's time to get back to the US. I cannot wait to get back on the horse because, and I also believe in the forgiveness of lack of productivity. You know what I mean?
Totally.
During this time, I feel like people are like, they're still in that mindset where it's like, oh, I gotta be productive. It's not about that. So I think the shift has to be like, what's gonna fulfill you? What's gonna keep you going during the day? What's gonna create a healthy mind, a healthy body? Because I really believe now is not the time to Netflix and chill. Okay, Netflix has its own space and time.
Yes.
But now it's the time to deepen your sense of consciousness, your connection with yourself, with others, with the world. This is a global thing. And so I feel like our fundamental system, everything leading up to this point is radically going to be shifted. And but anyway, I got oil paints now, so I'm back in the painting.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, working on a new body of work surrounding this virus and what it means.
Very good. Well, Julia, you've been so awesome. Thank you so much again for sharing just a little bit of that story. And really what I wanted to make this episode is to really make a channel so that our friends can find you. They can really connect with you in the long term, not just through these 10, 15 minutes, but really in the long term through your video blog, which is amazing, and through the things that you're doing. So can you share where can our friends find you on Instagram really quickly and also on YouTube?
Yeah, Instagram is Julia_Ha. And then my Instagram, if you just type in Julia Ha or a painter's vlog, it'll pop right up. So I think I'm on episode 53 of just, I don't know, a day in the life.
Don't miss him, my friends. I love him. I check him all the time. So thank you so much, Julia, for being here. I really appreciate you. We miss you as well. Thank you for your time. So glad that you are in safe. We wish that, wishing you the best, that everything can go back again and connect in some mysterious ways, to the plans that you have going back to Cambodia. So which I think it will truly happen. So thanks again. Thanks to all our friends for watching. Please share this episode with your friends. That will make Julia and I super, super happy. So thanks, my friends. Thanks, Julia. Have a good day. Goodbye.